Hi everyone, it's Joe here from Lawn Solutions Australia and welcome to another episode of Turf Talk where it's celebrity guest day today, Charlie Albone.
This is celebrity.
Celebrity. How you been? Been good?
I've been very well. Yourself?
That's good. Been going well, thank you. Now, we're going to spend the next little bit just getting a bit of a dive into your world, what you've been up to and what's been going on, because I'm sure there's been plenty. You're a very busy person, wearing a lot of different hats. So let's start with the biggest hat, I think, which is probably Better Homes and Gardens for you now. How's that been ticking along and where's it taken you lately?
I absolutely love it. I reckon I've got the best job in the world, to be honest with you. Yeah. You know, we do 46 episodes a year though, so it runs all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
So the only time we really get off is middle of December to the middle of January. And we film 2 to 3 days a week.
Not a bad time to get off, but hey.
It is the best time to get off for sure. Yeah. But I mean, there's that constant having to do stuff. So I love it because it takes me to some of the most amazing gardens you've ever seen. Like I get privileged to walk around and talk about them. I get to basically do my landscape job on camera and just say, this is how you do it. So it's pretty easy. Yeah. Next week, I'm going to Far North Queensland for a week. Oh, wow. Just to have a look around and hang out with Joe Griggs. So it's a great job. So we can't complain.
The hour-long episode, like how long does it actually take? Is it a full week sort of thing or a couple of days of filming?
So normally, I mean, there's 74 different presenters on the show. Yeah. there's a lot of us. But I normally do about 6 minutes of story and that will take between 2 to 3 days to film.
Wow.
Unless it's a walk around and that will take a day. So, yeah.
So a lot involved still, isn't there?
There's still a lot involved, yeah. Because we're making over gardens and spaces, so you still need to do it properly. You can't just put one coat of paint on the fence. Yeah. You know, I can, and I have to go away and someone else has to finish it.
So I reckon this will be a common question. So how much of the actual labour, because you have to do a lot of other things when you're on site too, so you can't be expected to do everything from start to finish, but do you do more or less than what people think generally?
I think I do more than what people think.
Yeah.
But I can't do everything. Exactly. You know, I'm supposed to be telling the story of how to do it. Yeah. And there is a lot of help in the background. You know, it's a beast, and there's a lot of amazing people in the team that make it happen. But I do as much as I can. I love doing the planting side of stuff and that kind of stuff. The building stuff, you can't get it all done in the time we have. So there are other people that help. Yeah.
Because I got a shock because I spent a bit of time on a shoot you guys were doing in Sydney when I dropped some turf off as an extra raking soil in the background. It was a good day, but I got a shock because you don't think when you see it on TV, like you just said before, you don't realise that you actually have to build those gardens and they have to be really, really well built and sustainable. So you do quite a lot of work when you're there. Like it's a big day.
Yes. Yeah. And you feel bad. Like I have the experience. I know what I'm doing. So I'm not just going to stand there and watch other people do it. Yeah. You know, I'm going to join in. And everyone wants to go home as early as possible. Yeah. It's still work.
So you want to get it done.
So you kind of want to get done.
So that's your full-time job.
Yeah. That's one of them.
Yeah. It's one of them, Tom. So, and traveling around, is it, because you get to travel around with your wife a bit, who's on the show now too.
Well, she's on the show, but we hardly ever work together.
Okay.
We were actually doing, we do one crossover a year normally, 1 or 2, where we work together. Right. And the last one we did, she got COVID, so could only do half the story. Okay. So all of a sudden she disappears and I had to do all her stuff as well. So that's good. So, but it's nice that we both know what each other's going through during the day. Yeah, and we can kind of plan around it. Yeah.
And is it always somewhere totally different, or do they localise it a little bit? So you might be filming in Sydney this month, or you might go.
They try and keep it in Sydney if possible.
Do they?
Within like a 50k radius of Sydney. Yeah. They try and keep it just because of where all the cameramen are, all the producers are. It just makes life easier. But like I said, I'm going to Far North Queensland next week. Yeah. So. And I went to Alaska last year. And,
I saw that. And are you doing the same sort of thing each time, or
not in Alaska? I'm not building garden beds.
Yeah. Other than when you go to the coldest place on earth, are you doing the similar sort of thing when you're working around Sydney? Like, is it the same sort of build, or
as in my own business?
As in, the gardens on Better Homes, is it like a similar sort of thing each time, or do they make you do something weird and wonderful?
We try and do different things each episode and stuff that hasn't been done on the show for at least a couple of years. Yeah. And trying to get through the problems people have in their gardens to inspire them to fix it. Yeah. That's the idea. But, like next or this week, I should say, I'm building, what happens if you've got shallow soil? How do you get a garden there? Okay. So, you can do contouring, you can build it up with garden beds. So just kind of giving people those options.
Yeah. And do you get a fair bit of say in what goes in where, do you?
Sometimes. So I work with a researcher who comes up with the ideas and pitches them to the producers who know what all the stories are in the show and if it's going to fit or not. And then they mimight come to me for some plant advice or something like that. But there's times when you turn up and they're like, hey, we're painting this door like purple. And you're like, oh, wow. Wish I'd known about this.
Got my name on it.
But, that's life. The idea is to show people as many different options in the garden as they can, because my one style is going to get boring for people to watch the whole time. So they need to see all these different styles to hopefully inspire them.
Yeah, cool. No, you do a really good job on there, and the stuff you guys do is great. And it's not only, the thing that I like about it is it's not only just doing nice gardens all the time. There's so many good stories behind it too, and helping people out. And I've seen that a lot lately on there. So
it's really nice to help people that really need it, or maybe can't afford it themselves. But you can just look at their garden. You know how much it's going to improve their lives by just doing simple things for them. So that's nice.
And on to garden building some more. I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this saw it, but you built something pretty cool at Mythos this year, the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show. Why don't you tell us a little bit what was behind that design? Yeah,
so I work with Rich Grow as well, and they make potting mixes and composts and all that kind of stuff. And they said, we want to do a garden at Mythos. And I was like, great, because I've wanted to go back since 2017. And they're like, but we want to do it all in pots, like all containers. And I thought, oh, that could just look super twee. And then I started thinking, well, why don't I take that literally and go buy a couple of shipping containers and turn them into something you could use in the garden. So that's how the garden came around. And one shipping container was like an outdoor dining space, which had a hanging fireplace. We opened up the side so you could see all the planting. There was a central courtyard with a big kind of cooking grill, amazing lawn. Step over a water feature into the second container, which was more of like a lounge space with a green wall. And then I thought, well, that's not enough work. I might as well do a spiral staircase and do a rooftop garden that no one can go and see and have a barbecue area up there. A lot went into it. And
you went all right, didn't you?
Not too bad. Look, I've never got a gold medal at a garden show, so I was really happy that it got a gold medal, but it also got Best Plant Life and Best in Show.
So you pretty much everything.
Almost.
Best in Show is the big one.
That's the big one.
So gold's great.
Gold's great, but with garden shows, like the idea is everyone could possibly win a gold. Yeah. So it's not like there's first, second, third. There's if you're good enough, you and get enough points, you get a gold medal. Yeah. If you don't, you get silver gilt. Then you get silver. Then you get bronze. Right. But there's only one Best in Show. And that's the one I got.
Yeah, cool. So for those that saw it, it looks like a garden that's been there for years. Like that's the idea behind it. Even the grass you used unmown Sagrange, which popped up and look really, really cool too. But give us a little bit of background onto the actual build. And I've seen this firsthand a number of times and how hectic and crazy it is. Yeah. So what kind of timeline do they give you and how do you get in there and get it done?
Like when you're doing a Chelsea Flower Show, you get a bit of time. You get 21 days. So that's fine. In Melbourne, you get 9 days. So there's a hell of a lot of planning. You're building something very similar, 10 by 10 space, but you got 9 days to do it. So there's a lot of prefab that went on. So all the containers were prefabbed and paved and all that sort of stuff and craned in. But Melbourne's really difficult because it's a heritage site. You're not allowed to dig in the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've got to protect the ground at all costs. We built a big, massive deck to put our lawn on. You know, it had to be solid. So there's so much that goes into it. I took a team from Sydney, my construction team at the time. We went and stayed in the worst house in Melbourne. We said it was just absolutely horrible. But it was at the time of the F1, so everything was like super expensive. Yeah. So I think we spent like 25 grand on staying in this house for 2 weeks, and it was the worst house in Melbourne. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible.
Should have stayed in the container.
Should have stayed in the container, with all the possums. But so you get there at 7 in the morning, you kind of work till 7 at night for 9 days straight.
So it's a flat out experience, isn't it?
It's crazy, but I was also started my training for Dancing with the Stars at the same time.
Right.
So I was trying to get as fit as possible for that because I didn't want the physical side of it to let me down. So I was getting up at 4:30, going to the gym, working out, and then going and building this garden till like 8 o'clock at night. Then going and living in this horrible share house with 9 other guys that were like, I didn't drink because I wanted to stay focused, who were like getting on the booze like guys do after work. So it was just a hectic time.
Bloody hell. And then, I'd imagine were you filming at the same time or you got a break from filming during that?
I got a break from filming, but we obviously filmed the show at Mythos.
Yeah.
So they then were also filming the behind-the-scenes story of how did I build the garden as one story. Yeah. And then there was the show of obviously, because we did so well, there was a lot of involvement around filming it. So we were doing a story on the garden and we still had like the final cleanup to do, and the judges are walking towards us and they're like, you got to get off, and there was cameras there, and it was just like, I still need to mop, I still need to rake, and it was just kind of mind blowing. I think I put a bit too much on, and I was just like,
wait. Yeah. So in that design, is that totally you, or so that's 100% your design?
Yeah.
And with the build, I know you said it's sun up to sun down sort of stuff. Are you there every day? Like, are you your eyes over everything?
Yeah.
You don't want to let anyone else.
I mean, I wasn't building anything because I needed to keep an eye on everything and make sure everything was the way it was. And you just get pulled in too many directions. Like, what do you want to do here?
Yeah.
How far apart do you want these screws? Do you want them all to line up? That kind of
more of a project managing.
Project managing with my construction manager. But then I also did all the planting, or helped with all the planting as well. So that's kind of what I really love doing. Yeah. So that's kind of how I did it.
And where can people check that out if they haven't already? The Mythos website would have it.
Mythos website, my website, Inspired Exteriors would have it.
Yeah.
There's a project folder there for it. So just Google Mythos 2023. Is that what year we're in?
It'll pop up. You going back next year?
No.
You don't have enough to do you?
It's an expensive exercise to do. I think I might be designing the lawn solutions stand.
Okay.
Possibly.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be there, but I don't know. I won't be building a garden myself. I think because I won Mythos, they've invited me to put a proposal in for Singapore Garden Show, which is in August.
Yeah.
So I think
might look at something like that.
Might do that. Yeah.
And what's the cost? So they're not big sites. How big did you say the site was before?
10 by 10.
10 by 10. What's it cost to put something like that?
Ours was 160 grand.
Wow. Okay.
You get some of it from the organisers and some of it from sponsors, but nowhere near it.
And most of the you got to try and arrange stuff to get donated, I'm guessing, to that, and in turn there's a promotion.
So it would have cost a lot more if I didn't get given free barbecues, free grills. All the paving was from Eco Outdoor.
Yeah.
That was all given to us.
Yeah.
So that doesn't include all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you think to build something like that would probably be around 300 grand.
And what's the bump out on something like that? Like
2 days.
2 days. That's it.
Yeah.
And you got to restore everything to pristine how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rake the grass off perfectly, not a screw left.
Yeah. Yeah. Righto. And so Singapore.
Yeah.
Like, have you started?
I haven't even started putting a concept together for that. I've just given them they've invited me. They said, we want you. Can you send us your portfolio and we'll put it in. But they pretty much said I can go and do it.
What's the timeline on designing a garden like that?
So that's in August, and they fly you out. You work with a local contractor, so you don't build anything. They pay you to do the design, and they fly you out once to meet with the contractor.
Yep.
Contractor deals with it, and then you go out to help with the build.
Okay, right. Yeah. So you still go out there and oversee. You're still on the ground.
Yeah,
yeah.
In the very humid weather.
In a very humid weather. I was going to say it'd be a lot different to building a garden.
Yeah, but I've worked in Singapore before, so I've done some work in the lobby for the Shangri-La, so we renovated that for them, and because we did this like artistic green wall hanging rock piece, I was like, I can't explain to anyone how to do it. I need to come and do it with my guys.
Yeah.
So we were like, it'll be fine. It's in the lobby. It'll be air conditioned. But the lobby was being renovated and there was no air conditioning. Just like sweating and sweating. I just like about 4 litres of water of sweat every day. It was just gross.
Couldn't do it. And your Mythos, the garden itself. So we just mentioned briefly before the turf varieties that were on it. So how did you get that effect, and what were you really going for with the turf? What was the statement you were trying to make with that?
Well, one of my pet hates with show gardens in Australia is when people put a lawn in, they always use regular sized turf because that's what's available, right? But you can see no one likes the look of a brand new lawn. It's got to grow in and look right. So when I was speaking to you guys, I wanted really big rolls to try and minimize that. But that also gave me that striped effect. And we did that with Tiff Tuff.
Yeah, right.
And that looked awesome. It looked unbelievable. It just came out like a carpet. It was just perfect.
Yeah. Lay one roll one way, one roll the other way. It looked like the footy grounds do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we ended up spending about 45 minutes vacuuming the lawn, to get all the dirt, just because you got to go for that level of detail.
Yeah.
And then we had these mounds, which I wanted to be like living bean bags to sit and relax, enjoy the garden. They were so grange that had been left to grow long, and they just looked awesome.
So it was left long prior to harvest too. So it was done a little bit. It was obviously done for the show.
Yes.
But that was showing the effect that people can get by not mowing their zoysia grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's about 350 mil long.
Yeah.
But it's super soft, deep green, perfect contrast with the Tif Tuff.
So it worked for that situation there.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah, cool. No, again, people check that out if you haven't already. It looks really, really cool. And not only the plants in the shipping container, but you can do some pretty cool things with grass.
You can do some amazing stuff with grass, especially landform. I think there's some amazing landscape architects that do stuff with landform out there. There's like this garden called the Wondrous Garden of, I don't know, some crazy Belgium thing, and it's all these different landforms and landscaping, all with grass.
All with turf.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
It's particularly zoysia grass. Like Segrange zoysia has some incredible versatility, as you can see there. Like you mentioned, you had Tif Tuff, which was cut short and looking good, but you can do that with Segrange too, and you can just leave it unmown up the side.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be something that's going to get more popular in show gardens like that.
Absolutely it will. Yeah.
So further from building gardens, so you're done Melbourne, you're done. Are you doing Chelsea again? Is that something you?
That's even more expensive.
Is it? Okay. So
it's like $500,000.
We'll stay away from that.
Yeah. So if someone wants to give me the money, I'm happy to do it. It's just
okay.
cost too much.
Prospective sponsors, take note. So just because you got nothing else to do, you decided to do Dancing with the Stars as well, in amongst everything else. So just to start with that, you said before you had to get in pretty good nick before you did it. What's the training regime like to get in shape for something as rigorous as that?
So the fitness I was doing, I was working out 6 days a week. I was working with this personal trainer. The workouts weren't too long. They're only about an hour long, but super high intensity, combination of high intensity and weight training, and then this insane diet of basically lettuce. Lettuce and steak is all I could eat. But there was this whole science behind the diet, so I just went fully into it and just fully committed to it. Yeah. Lost about 10 kilos before I even started. And then
you're not a big guy to start with.
No, I know, but they do all this like body fat metric stuff. And I lost 10 kilos of body fat and then put on a couple of kilos of muscle. Okay. So that was just like this wild experience as well. And then I started doing 6 hours of dancing a day for like 4 weeks.
Do they tell you to get in shape?
No, they don't. But I know I have no rhythm. I know I'm terrible at remembering dancing steps, and I knew I was going to be bad. So I was like, I don't want the physical side to let me down as well, because then it would just be a disaster. I wanted to know that I could go and keep doing it if I had to keep doing it again and again and again. Just get in my head. I wanted to know that I could do that.
So you get fit. So you start that a couple of months out. When you
no, I did that in 8 weeks. So a couple of months. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Intensive.
A time like the present. So, and then the actual dance practicing itself. So when you go on to actually perform, how long have you got to nail that routine?
So I've had like 4 weeks of training, and then they're supposed to film the show in 3 weeks, the whole thing. So it's normally like they give you 3 or 4 days, and then you have to do another dance. But the studio flooded. And so they had to cram it all into 2 weeks. Right. So the idea was you had to learn all the dances before you'd even started the show. Yeah. And by then I realised that I didn't even need to go anywhere near the finals dance because I wasn't going to get anywhere near there. And I don't know if you've watched it, but I was really bad.
I've watched bits of it. I haven't watched all of it. I turned it off after half. No, I'm joking.
It was savage.
But it must have been a fun experience.
It was a wild experience. And I did it because I kind of... One, I wanted to do it for my kids, but also not many people get the opportunity to do it, so why not just have a go?
And how old are your kids?
They're 8 and 10.
Now, what was their...
They thought I was the best. They're like, why did you get off of that? Those judges, they're so nasty. I was like, mate, I was not the best.
They understood the concept of it, but didn't they?
They did, yeah. Look, I knew I wasn't going to be good. I kind of wanted to show them just have a go at stuff, even if you know you're not going to be good, because you don't know. You might be good at it, and you might have fun. I had good fun doing it, but it was intense.
Has the 6 day a week training maintained post?
I'm kind of doing 5 days now, and I'm eating a lot more of what I want to eat.
Yeah, because like you see people when they do it, and when you look like you're done, you look like totally gassed. Yeah, like it's pretty physically demanding
because it's like 2 minutes of like high intensity, but you forget to breathe as well. So it's just like by the end of it, like.
And how much pressure's on you when they're actually filming the dance? Is it as intense as it looks on TV?
It's super intense. Yeah. Like whenever I do any filming Better Homes and Gardens, it's with people I know, small group. If you get it wrong, you can do it again. They're like, okay, I know you can't hear the timing because you've proven that in your training, but if you don't go on this exact beat, then it's all over, and there's a countdown that you don't hear.
You can't stuff up and start again?
No, you get one shot at it.
So it's proper live.
It's proper. They record it proper live, and there's a timer that goes like 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the music starts, and you just have to do it. And as soon as you hear that 4, your mind goes into panic. Like you're dressed head to toe in neon, You got so much fake tan on you, you stink. And then you start hearing this 4, 3, 2, 1. You just think, what on earth? You look around, there's cameras, there's lights, there's like a whole audience. And it's just like, if you got to do it. And because you've done it, repeated it so many times, your body kind of takes over, but everything's heavy and slow and just like, this is not what I trained for. And then I messed up a lift and almost dropped this girl on her head, and it was just like, and the more you do, and you're going through it, and you're like, this is not going well. This is not how I want it to be. And it's just, you got to keep going. It's just so hard.
A confession, I'm not a dancer. Never have been.
I'm surprised by that.
Never want to be. And I feel like, when you go places, or like even at a wedding or something, like 2 people might be watching you, and how uncomfortable and nervous you feel.
Yeah.
And you got like half the country watching you.
That's like the first day I walked into training, they're like, okay, we're just going to put on some music and let's just dance. I'm like,
oh, I'd hate that.
Like what? Now? I'm like, with the camera on? Like, yeah, with the camera on, just start dancing. I'm like,
isn't that the most awkward
just
feeling
like you just want to leave and pick up the ball and
never come back.
This is.
So are you like out of home? Are you like going into a full-on training camp for this stuff? Like, are you like?
No, living at home, like.
But is your life just Dancing with the Stars?
Oh no, I was still doing Better Homes and Gardens.
You're still doing both.
So I was training on weekends and doing Better Homes, and only 3 days I'd do that. So yeah, it's intense.
Good few weeks.
Yeah.
Do it again next year?
No, I don't think they're going to ask me back for All Stars. No, definitely not.
No, you never know. No. You never know.
I know.
And then outside of all of that, you do a bit of work for us.
Yes.
So we're here today doing this podcast. Just so people understand, what is your involvement with LSA and what kind of stuff do you do?
Well, I kind of help out with all the videos and that kind of stuff. But I still have a landscape design firm.
Yeah.
So I'm still very much a landscape designer in that sphere. So I think you can use my expertise in the kind of design side.
Yep.
So that's what I try to bring.
What's your experience, again, for those that don't know, you're obviously an ambassador for us, we're a turf company. What was your experience with turf prior? Was turf a big thing for you in your projects going into this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every garden's got a lawn in it, right? And there's very few that don't.
Yeah.
Cutting grass was one of the first things I did as a gardener, even back in the UK.
Yeah.
Cutting stripes into a lawn.
Yeah.
It's just part of a garden. There's plants and there's a lawn. So it makes a garden. It's a vital ingredient to a garden. I use it in everything. It's one of the main things a lawn is really great for when you've got a heavily planted garden is to give you that breathing space to enjoy it all, as well as all the other stuff that it does, which is good for a garden. But that's how I like to use it.
And since working here, has there been something that's changed for you? Like, is there a certain species that you go now, oh, wow, I put this pretty much in every garden I can?
I'm a huge fan of Tiff Tuff.
Yeah.
Like, I really like the Sir Grange, but it's only for a specific area.
Yeah.
And you need the right client as well, because you've got to get the drainage right, you've got to get the maintenance right, you've got to get it right. When it's right, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Tiff Tuff is super hardy and a great, fantastic grass. So I'm into that at the moment. But you can't go wrong with any of your lawns. Like Sir Walter is...
It's pretty bulletproof as well.
You can just roll it out and it, grows.
But the good thing from your perspective, I suppose, is you've got choice and you've got a bit of versatility in the products now, and you can do different things for different projects.
Absolutely. It's when you're picking plants for a garden, you've got to get the right plants for that spot, for the style of the garden and the aspect and all that kind of stuff. Grass is no different. When you've got different varieties to choose from, it's like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Pulls it all together.
And getting people to understand that grass isn't just grass now is an important thing. And I think your Mythos garden did that really, really well, is you put all this emphasis into a beautiful shipping container, lovely plants, but the turf makes a statement too, which is pretty cool.
And it softens it all. It just gives you that kind of nice greenery, which just calms everything down. So,
So you've been a busy boy. So what's in store for the next sort of 6-12 months? A bit of the same sort of thing? Or?
A bit of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a property on the Central Coast, which I renovated at the same time as doing all of this
just
stuff.
because
we were thinking of selling it, and we thought we got to do it up before we do that. And now we're not, but we did that as well. So I think it's just for the rest of the year, it's just kind of chill a bit, maybe reflect on all the stuff I've done.
Enjoy your 4 weeks off you get over Christmas or whatever.
Enjoy the time off and just relax, spend some more time with the kids, which is good.
Well, if you want to see more of Charlie, please check out his Mythos garden, but also tune into Better Homes and Gardens on a Friday night at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock Friday night. And also, if you want, there's a beautiful thing at the moment called Catch Up TV, so you can go back and watch Dancing with the Stars and get.
You might only get 1 or 2 episodes before I get voted off.
It ends quickly, but no, check that out as well. But also, he did just touch on it briefly then about how he came into lawn and mowing stripes back in his early days. We did do a podcast. I think it's one of our first episodes where we did your story, essentially. So if you want to check that out, it's a really interesting one. And Charlie's done very, very well for himself over the years. And it's a credit to the hard work and the skill that he has. But I hope you enjoyed that catch up, Charlie. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you again on here soon.
Will do.
It's nice doing this with a professional.